Okay, so yeah, now let's get to like the meat of results and prospects or whatnot, right? Uh, yeah, because I can either do this by just looking at my notes and constantly, but rather than doing that, I'm actually gonna just be much more board focused or whatnot, and then like look every now and then to be like, oh well, I missed this and that point. So okay, results and prospects or whatnot, right? So first things first, let's talk about like what is a bourgeois revolution, or like or actually, yeah. So first, let's talk about what is a bourgeois revolution, and before even talking about what is a bourgeois revolution or whatnot, Levy said that. So in Russia during this time or whatnot, there's an understanding there's an understanding among Marxists that Russia will need to have a bourgeois revolution. It's a feudal country or whatnot. In order to overcome its shackles, it must have a bourgeois revolution or whatnot, right? So what is a bourgeois revolution? Let's get into that. So a bourgeois revolution or whatnot a bourgeois revolution is basically a national democratic revolution or whatnot. It's basically when you have the revolt of the third estate, or it's when you have the revolt of the producing class. The producing class in this case meaning the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, but they're both bourgeois subjects or whatnot. Bourgeois revolution is a national democratic revolution or whatnot, which basically lifts up the society or whatnot, the third estate or whatnot, into taking power or whatnot, right? Main characteristic, national bourgeois, it's national and bourgeois or whatnot, right? Three main bourgeois revolutions the three main bourgeois revolutions we're going to be talking about or whatnot the three bourgeois revolutions that Trotsky is going to talk about is 1789, 1848, and 1905. And the key note that Trotsky makes is the 19th century did not pass in vain. And the reason why he makes that note is because he's trying to make the point that 1789, 1848, and 1905 are all three radically different revolutions. Because Trotsky starts with the French Revolution. And I should note here the thing about the bourgeois national revolution or the bourgeois democratic revolution. Even though the bourgeois democratic revolution happens within the nation or whatnot, it is international or whatnot, right? It's an international phenomenon or whatnot, right? Bourgeois society, the bourgeois revolutions or whatnot, they were an international phenomenon or whatnot, right? With 1776, American Revolution, 1789, France Revolution. If we're going a little back or whatnot, sometime in the 1600s, I think the late 1600s, you had the Protestant Reformation in England or whatnot. I think you have a Great England Revolution. I'm not sure if they're the same thing. This is a little embarrassing that I don't know for sure. But I think the Great England Revolution, if it's different from the Protestant Reformation, it happens also in the 1700s or whatnot, right? So these revolutions have an international phenomenon. They're national in form, but they are international or whatnot in character or whatnot, right? In 1848 or whatnot, you have specifically 1848 in Germany or whatnot, right? But you also have 1852 in France or whatnot. You have 1860 with the American Civil War or whatnot, right? These are international or whatnot. You also have revolutions like in Latin America or whatnot. I can't remember when the Mexican Revolution happened. These happen internationally or whatnot, right? So I should note here that even though these revolutions have a national character or whatnot, they are an international phenomenon or whatnot, right? So the bourgeois revolutions or whatnot, they're national, they're democratic or whatnot. Let's get a little bit more into the history of it. So Trotsky starts off by talking about the 1789 French Revolution, where he talks about what's going on in the 1789 French Revolution is you have the bourgeoisie, So in 1789, you have the bourgeoisie leading society or leading the nation against the aristocracy and the nobility, against the aristocracy, which is the nobility and the clergy. So you have the bourgeoisie leading the nation against the aristocracy on the behalf of the nation. For the bourgeoisie, they are leading society, and as they see it, on the behalf of society or whatnot, right? So it's heroic or whatnot, right? It is a popular revolt. They are leading society on the behalf of society or whatnot by saying, "Hey, we are the emancipators of society. We're doing this for the nation or whatnot against the aristocracy." Sorry, I just felt the need to repeat that point or whatnot to kind of repeat kind of like the heroic character of the bourgeoisie in the 1789
Is that like
revolution.
Jacobinism?
Yeah, this is Jacobinism, right? Jacobinism is, and Jacobinism is the great 1793 or whatnot is like kind of because the French Revolution goes on from 1789 to 1793, I believe. Jacobinism is the big political current of the bourgeoisie at this time or whatnot, because it's like it is the popular current which is saying, Jacobinism is basically the height of liberalism. It's basically saying like freedom in society, right? The society of labor. We are all people. We are all human. We are the nation. We are the third estate. What have we been? We've been nothing or whatnot. What do we do? We do everything. Let us be something or whatnot. And they ended up being everything or whatnot, right? The Jacobins, heroic or whatnot, right? 1789. Bourgeois revolution led by the bourgeoisie on the behalf of society or whatnot, right? Okay, so that was the 16th century or whatnot. Wait, sorry. No, sorry. That was the 18th century, right? Sorry, centuries are a little weird, right? But yeah, so that was the 18th century, bourgeois revolutions in the 18th century or whatnot. French Revolution being the main characteristic of it. Fast forward to the Industrial Revolution or whatnot, towards the time of capitalism or whatnot, right? You have 1848. You have Germany or whatnot, which is this, you have Germany or whatnot, which is like this, like semi-monarchy or whatnot, right? You have the German Revolution, but also all across Europe, you have the Spring of Nations, or also known as the European Spring or whatnot, right? You have the German Revolution. Now, what's interesting about the German Revolution is, in the German Revolution. Oh wait, sorry. Give me 1 second. I just realized about how I was having a hard time following along here. Yeah, I meant to put this little shorter footnote kind of thing. Okay, so sorry, my bad. So German Revolution. What's going on with the German Revolution? So German Revolution is you have a bourgeois revolution, or you have you do have a bourgeois revolution against the aristocracy, but the thing is, the bourgeoisie don't quite want to lead it, in the sense that the bourgeoisie do lead this revolution towards the aristocracy. However, with the masses behind them, but they don't do it on the behalf of the nation. They do it in their own interest, and in fact, they try to limit the revolution, because they're trying to make sure that the proletariat, or this new class that's emerging or whatnot, the proletariat does not overthrow them. They're trying to make sure that the masses don't overthrow them. So with the German Revolution, you have a bourgeois revolution, but a bourgeois revolution in which the bourgeoisie could no longer lead, but the proletariat was not yet organized enough to lead itself or whatnot. So it's like you have a bourgeois revolution without leaders. The bourgeoisie could no longer lead, and the proletariat could not yet lead or whatnot, right? Further or whatnot, right? Well, the reason why the bourgeoisie could no longer lead is because the bourgeoisie only sought its domination and limited the nation from pushing the revolution further from its interests. The bourgeoisie did not want the victory of the nation. They wanted to secure their own interests. They wanted to overthrow the aristocracy for their own preservation or for their own interests. But they didn't want the revolution to go so far as to have them be overthrown or whatnot by this current or whatnot, or to demand even more democratic rights, to demand even more things or whatnot, right? And in fact, so what you actually see in the 1848 revolution is the bourgeoisie or whatnot, they do let the revolution run its course to a certain point, but then they suppress the masses. They suppress the masses, and they suppress the workers. They suppress the peasantry. They suppress the masses from going any further in the revolution because of the threat that they may be overthrown or whatnot. And the critical recognition at this time, as Ferdinand Lassalle, who's a big socialist at this time, makes, is he has a recognition here, which is, hey, no revolution can be successful in Europe unless it's from the very first. His exact words are, no revolution can be successful in Europe unless it is from the very first proclaimed to be purely socialistic. So in 1848 or whatnot, you basically have this crisis of capitalism or whatnot, or you have capitalism emerge, and you basically have this recognition that hey, or this is where the necessity of a socialist revolution first emerges, because it's to recognize that, a bourgeois revolution, a national democratic revolution is not enough. We need to have a revolution on behalf of society, and the only person and the only subject that can lead this revolution is a proletariat, for the proletariat constitutes society or not, right? That the proletariat actually must take reins of society or not, as it is, as it reconstitutes society through its own labor or not, right? So there's an understanding that like, the National Democratic Revolution is limiting or not. You need to have a socialist revolution. This is where there becomes a critical recognition that you need to have a socialist revolution to move beyond a world of capitalism. That bourgeois democratic revolution is not enough. So, that was the 19th century. Now, what happens in the 20th century, right? So 20th century, 1905 Russia. There's like a little thing in my mouth. Okay, so 1905. So the 1905 Russian Revolution or whatnot, right? So in the 1905 Russian Revolution, what Marxists at the time understand that like, hey, Russia needs to go through Russia needs to have a bourgeois revolution. Russia needs to have its own bourgeois society. Russia must overthrow Tsarism or whatnot. Russia must overthrow absolutism. Russia must overthrow the aristocracy or whatnot, right? But there's a split, or there's a difference between the Marxists on this or whatnot, right? You have on the one hand or whatnot, you have Martov and the Mensheviks, or you have the Mensheviks who have basically a minimum program where the Mensheviks say, hey, we're going to lead a bourgeois revolution, but a bourgeois revolution led by the bourgeoisie or whatnot, right? But the experience of the 1905 actually prove otherwise, because the revolutionary subject in society in 1905, who's leading this, with all these mass strikes that are occurring up spontaneously, what class is taking the lead of this revolution? What is the class character of this revolution? It's a proletariat, or it's a proletariat who's taking lead of this revolution or whatnot, right? So the Mensheviks or whatnot, though they have an understanding of like, we need to have this bourgeois revolution to establish a parliament in Russia or whatnot, to establish this democratic national program or whatnot, that the bourgeoisie must lead it or whatnot, right? They have this kind of minimum goal of like bourgeois revolution. The Bolsheviks have a maximum program or whatnot, where the Bolsheviks say, actually, like what is historical experience showing us? Actually, the bourgeois revolution will be led by the dictatorship of the proletariat and the peasantry, or basically by the masses or whatnot, right? So the Bolsheviks say that actually we will have a bourgeois democratic revolution, but it will not be led on behalf of or it will not be led by the bourgeoisie or whatnot, right? It will not be national democratic, or the class character of the revolution is not going to be bourgeois. It's not going to be towards the interests of the bourgeoisie. Actually, we're going to have a national democratic revolution. We're going to have a bourgeois democratic revolution on the behalf of the proletariat and the peasantry or whatnot. That actually the proletariat and peasantry are going to get into power, establish a dictatorship as in like a consolidation of power or whatnot against the Tsar or whatnot, right? It's going to establish a dictatorship of itself. So you're going to have a bourgeois revolution, but it's going to have a class character, or like when it institutes policies, when it institutes reforms, it's going to be in the class character of the proletariat and the peasantry or not, or for the interests of the proletariat and the peasantry. So just an example of whatnot is, if you have a bourgeois revolution led by the bourgeoisie, it's like, let's imagine like you have the workers go on strike or whatnot the workers go on strike or whatnot, right? If you have a bourgeois revolution led by the bourgeoisie or whatnot, if the workers go on strike or whatnot, what the bourgeois state is going to do is the bourgeois state is going to like suppress the strike or whatnot, say go back to work or whatnot, right? It's like actually you go back to the factories or whatnot, or fire them all. Let's put the unemployed into, let's put all of the unemployed into the factory or whatnot. Fire all those workers or whatnot, right? Or that's what the capitalists might do, but the bourgeois, the state will suppress the strike or whatnot, right? Meanwhile, a bourgeois revolution led by a proletariat and peasantry will actually have a different character. It will have a much more revolutionary character, where it's like, if the workers go on strike, what the government will do is, the capitalists might, demand like, hey, we're going to fire you or whatnot, or hey, we're going to, we're going to lock down our factories or whatnot. What the state will do is the state will say, actually, they'll either fund or they'll either protect the strikers, or they'll, give the strikers the means or whatnot to like keep striking against the capitalists. They'll either, they'll either like remove the capitalists and expropriate the factory for themselves or whatnot, and say like, just give the factory to the proletariat and the peasantry, or it'll like it'll straight up say like, hey, you cannot fire these workers or whatnot, and actually like you can't just or like we're actually going to try to employ the unreserved army of the, or like we're going to employ the the unemployed or whatnot to make sure that the capitalists actually must listen to the demands of the what's it called, proletariat and peasantry. And it should be noted that because Russia is in this kind of like backward condition or whatnot, it's like it would essentially be like a proletariat and peasant, or like you'd have a backward nations or whatnot. You would have this like workers and peasant state or whatnot, instituting state capitalism, but on the behalf of the workers and the peasants. So do you see the difference between like the bourgeoisie in power versus the proletariat and peasantry in power in regards to a a bourgeois revolution? Yeah. But Trotsky makes an even more exciting point, where Trotsky says like, actually, right? Because like if the Mensheviks are saying like, oh, there's going to be a bourgeois revolution on behalf of the bourgeoisie, and if the Bolsheviks say actually we're going to have a bourgeois revolution led by the dictatorship of the proletariat and peasantry, Trotsky says actually, no, it's going to go even beyond that. For Trotsky, he talks about actually the proletariat is going to lead the revolution in permanence, because what's going to happen is, yes, you're going to have a bourgeois revolution led by the proletariat, or like it's going to be led by the proletariat, and the peasantry will follow. Because Trotsky makes the point that the peasantry cannot take independent political leadership, and the reason why the peasantry cannot take independent political leadership is because the peasantry are they're isolated farmers or whatnot. They work on their agrarian land or whatnot. They don't have in some sense they don't have a critical consciousness of history, or they don't have a consciousness of how to organize themselves. Whereas the workers constitute society or whatnot. The workers are organized in factories or whatnot. The workers are socialized or whatnot, right? Whereas the peasantry is not or whatnot, right? The peasantry, the day in the life, you remember in the Trotsky comic of the day in the life of the peasant versus the day in the life of the proletariat, right? Where it's like, the day in the life of the peasant is like, okay, wake up, toil the fields, take a lunch break, toil the fields some more, and go to bed or whatnot, right? As just an isolated individual. Whereas for the proletariat, it's like, no, the proletariat is waking up, going to the factories from 9 to 5 or whatnot, socializing, working with other people or whatnot. Then go on lunch break, talking with others or whatnot. You have talk of culture, talk of ideas, talk of education or whatnot. After 9 to 5, after that you could go to a club, you go to a bar or whatnot, you're with other workers or whatnot, and then go home or whatnot, right? The workers are society. The workers can take this political initiative. So you're going to have a bourgeois democratic revolution, led by both the proletariat and the peasantry, but in the leadership of the proletariat. But when you have a bourgeois democratic revolution led by the proletariat, obviously when the proletariat gets in power or whatnot, you're going to have a what's it called? Wait, I'm trying to think. You're going to have an attempt for a counter-revolution or whatnot, right? By the bourgeoisie, by the nobility or whatnot. But the point is, the proletariat, as long as it has the peasantry or whatnot with them or whatnot, it's like, no, it's actually going to establish a dictatorship, or it's going to establish a temporary dictatorship or whatnot, where it's like, no, it's going to strong arm its rule or whatnot, right? It's going to make sure that the revolutionary government is in its rule, but also as the government is going to have a very proletarian character. And the thing about this is, even though at first it's going to have a popular character, where it's like, the proletariat is doing this on behalf of all of society. But this is going to become, I guess, conflicting when it's like the proletariat is going to keep pushing policies for the behalf of the proletariat that might actually come into, that might not actually be in the interest of the peasantry. So, for example, the proletariat may say, to nationalize the lands or whatnot, right? But the peasantry may not find this, the peasantry may not like this, because for the peasantry or whatnot, it's I guess some history or whatnot, for the peasantry or whatnot, they were paying, debt bonds to get, or they were paying debts to their lords or whatnot in order to attain their land or whatnot, right? So for the peasants or whatnot, they want their land or whatnot, right? They want this land to be theirs or whatnot. But the proletariat is going to say collectivize the land or whatnot, or like two policies of the proletariat. The proletariat is going to is going to advocate for internationalism or whatnot, because the proletariat understands the international character of capitalism, and two, the proletariat is going to collectivize or whatnot, right, or to like nationalize or socialize. And I should note that those are two different things. Nationalizing is not doing it for the sake of the state, whereas socializing is doing it for the sake of society or whatnot. So it's like either you have like these communal, or you have like communal co-ops, or like socialized production or whatnot, where it's like, okay, it's self-regulated by the workers within, within the workers themselves, or you have it nationalized, which is like within the direction of the state or whatnot, right? So it's like, Trotsky says it could be either or. But Trotsky notes that, like, okay, but when you have this, like, because when you establish a proletarian dictatorship in national limits, or in its national limits or whatnot, necessarily the proletariat is going to be under pressure by two forces. Either it's going to be under pressure of counter-revolution within its own nation or whatnot, right? Counter-revolution by the bourgeoisie, by as it progresses more and more proletarian policies or whatnot, by the peasantry. Like Trotsky makes the point: once the proletariat loses the peasantry, it's done, right? And so you have counter-revolution from below, and also you have reaction. You have reaction from the European states, because you're going to see like no one's going to want us, like no capitalist is going to want a socialist state or whatnot, right? Because socialism has an international phenomenon. If there is socialism in Russia, I'm not like you've heard this analogy of like when people talk about World War I, of how World War I was a powder keg for powder keg for war or whatnot, right? Where it's like if one conflict went down or whatnot, it would cause a war all across Europe, and that's what happened or whatnot, right? A Serbian nationalist assassinated assassinated a Austrian or whatnot, right? Serbian nationalists assassinated the Archduke Franz Ferdinand. One conflict there led to a world war or whatnot, right? Trotsky makes the point that, okay, well, that's going to be the same thing with Russia. Russia's going to be a powder keg, where it's a socialist revolution in Russia or whatnot will take an international character. Because it kind of goes back to how I was talking about how all the bourgeois revolutions have an international character. Trotsky's making this point. It's like, the revolution in Russia is going to have an international character. Like, it will start in Russia and it will spread all across Europe or whatnot. So Trotsky says that, faced with counter revolution from behind and reaction from the front or whatnot, the emergency proletarian dictatorship or whatnot is necessarily going to push the proletarian socialist revolution all across Europe or whatnot. For the European proletariat to lead the socialist revolution all across Europe or whatnot, right? And all across Europe also just means all across the world, because Europe is the powerhouse of the world. So it's like, for Trotsky, it's so if the Mensheviks are saying like, hey, there's going to be so Mensheviks say bourgeois revolution led by the bourgeoisie, Bolsheviks say bourgeois revolution led by the dictatorship of the proletariat. Trotsky says that actually no, the proletariat, like once the proletariat gets into power, it's not going to stop there or not. Like it's going to keep pushing for its interests. Like because Trotsky's critique of the Mensheviks is, okay, when the proletariat gets into power, why would it hand, or if the proletariat is leading the revolution, why would it hand power to the bourgeoisie? Like that doesn't make sense. Why would it hand power to the people exploiting them? Trotsky's critique of the Bolsheviks is, okay, yes, like the proletariat will need the peasantry, but as the proletariat advances more and more revolutionary social reforms or whatnot, it's going to break from the peasantry, and the peasantry is going to attack the proletariat. So Trotsky's point is actually we need to supersede the national democratic limits to the establishment of the dictatorship of the proletariat. And I should note that the dictatorship of the proletariat doesn't mean like. Well, so here, when Trotsky's talking about proletarian dictatorship, he is talking about dictatorship or whatnot, right? It's like an emergency situation dictatorship of like actually this is for. But here, when Trotsky says that, okay, actually, the proletariat will lead the revolution in permanence or whatnot, what Trotsky is getting at is actually that by superseding the national revolution and then promoting the revolution all across Europe or whatnot, it's going to establish the dictatorship of the proletariat, and dictatorship of the proletariat in the sense of not like literal dictatorship, but more in the sense of like the class character of the state. So it's like you could have a democracy, but like the policies are for the proletariat class or whatnot, right? And yada yada yada. And next week when I guess next week when we read the State of Revolution one, Lenin will specify that. Yeah, so the dictatorship of the proletariat, may take many different characters. It may be autocratic, it may be democratic, it may be, it could take multiple different forms or whatnot. But the idea there or whatnot is that the dictatorship of the proletariat is only an emergency measure or whatnot, because it's like what you have is it's the workers or whatnot, or it's the workers or whatnot, right? Managing capitalism, but the goal of the workers or whatnot, right? Like what makes the socialist revolution different from the bourgeois revolution is with the bourgeois revolution was leading the nation on the behalf of all of society, but ultimately for itself, for its own interest. The difference is when the proletariat gets power or not, the proletariat attains power to abolish itself as a class, and by abolishing itself as a class, it abolishes all classes or not, right? So it's like and thus the achievement of classless society or not, right? So you see how the proletariat has a very unique world historical task or whatnot, right? It's not leading a revolution on its own, or yes, it's leading a revolution for its sake or not, for its class interest, but its class interest actually points to the class interest not of only its own society, but all of human history, because the idea is the proletariat, in abolishing itself as a class, abolishes all classes or whatnot, and creates a truly free society or whatnot, in which you don't have the state or whatnot, right? You don't have the need for a state. You truly have the existence of a society or whatnot, in which people are free, human qua human, the idea of the revolution of permanence, or the idea of permanent revolution, is that the proletariat once achieving power will not be satisfied, will not be satisfied within its national limits or whatnot. So it will basically promote, or it will basically push the revolution into permanence, or push the revolution to a socialist revolution all across Europe or whatnot, right? So you see how radical this idea is or whatnot, right? Where it's actually we're gonna skip, in some sense it's we're gonna jump through the bourgeois revolution into the socialist revolution or whatnot, right? So then also Trotsky talks about, and this is the final point I make, which is Trotsky talks about, which is what are the prerequisites for a socialist revolution or whatnot, right? So first, Trotsky makes the point that, and I guess this also leads back to this. I should have done bourgeois revolution, then prerequisites for socialist revolution, then permanent revolution. But we'll do it, this way, and it'll be fine, right? So Trotsky's point. So Trotsky says okay, what are the prerequisites for a socialist revolution? And he's raising this question because people are saying oh, Russia's not ready for a socialist revolution. Russia can't lead a socialist revolution or not because it doesn't have those means of production and all that sort of stuff. And this is the reason why Trotsky makes the point of permanent revolution. He's saying you're right. We don't have those means of production. That's why we're going to have a revolution all across the world or not. Because if you establish a socialist revolution across the world or not, then Russia can be supported by other countries or whatnot in its development or whatnot, right? So does that make sense of why Trotsky's arguing for the permanent revolution? Because the necessity there or whatnot is that if Russia just has a bourgeois revolution or not, it's if the proletariat does take power or not, it's going to collapse in and on itself or whatnot because you're going to Russia needs to advance its own aid, or Russia needs to advance its own conditions, but can only do that on the with the aid of other nations or whatnot, right? Because the idea of a socialist revolution is you're going to truly establish an international world or whatnot, right? Because it's the thing that the bourgeois revolutions do is the bourgeois revolutions create an international it creates an international world, but not in form or whatnot, because you still have national borders, you still have these national boundaries or not. So it's even though capitalism is international or not, you still have this kind of farcical, this fox form of this, of national borders, of this national character of things. The socialist revolution, however, will be international or whatnot, right? Well, you will have an international world. So, Trotsky talks about what are the prerequisites of a socialist revolution, and he basically focuses on three conditions, or he basically says there's three prerequisites: a productive technical requisite or whatnot, so an objective requisite. You have the social economic requisite, so objective subjective requisite, and then you have the subjective political requisite, so the subjective requisite or whatnot, right? So for the first requisite of planned production or whatnot, for the first requisite, Trotsky notes that socialism is not merely a question of equal distribution. No, that's kind of the vulgar Marxist reading of it, where like people read Marxism as like, oh well, what is Marxism? Marxism is just welfare state. And it's like no, right? No, right? Because it's not about it's not a question of equal distribution. It's a question of planned production or not, right? Or what does it mean for society or not to coordinate how production is done or not? What does it mean for the workers to control how things are produced or whatnot for their favor or whatnot, right? What would it mean for like the workers in some sense to basically control the anarchy of the free market or whatnot, or control the anarchy of the market or whatnot, or control the market or whatnot on behalf of society or for the production of society or whatnot. So he says that the first requisite for a socialist revolution to occur or whatnot is the need for is the need for a planned production or whatnot, or an idea for a planned production or whatnot, right? The second requisite that Trotsky makes is that, the second requisite for the socialist revolution that Trotsky makes is the class antagonism, where he says that the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat have this class antagonism, but because of this class antagonism, because of this the class struggle makes it so that the proletariat strives for the realization of socialism, because the proletariat realizes that within capitalism, the proletariat will never have, in some sense, control of its life. It will never have freedom or not, right? Society will not be free under capitalism. So the proletariat in the class struggle occupies a very unique position that, because of its position in society or not, it recognizes that its objective interest lies in the realization of socialism or not, right? And then finally, the subjective factor, which is the dictatorship of the proletariat or not, right? The idea there is that the proletariat understands that once it takes power or not, it must take power on the behalf of, or it has to take power in the interest of its own class or whatnot, rather than in the interest of capital or in the interest of capitalism or whatnot, right? Let me expand on those points just a little bit more. Let me just look at this real quick. Let me scroll down. Yeah, prerequisites for socialism. The third one is like, the socialists must have, the workers must have an understanding or whatnot that their task is to establish the dictatorship of the proletariat, or that is, they must lead society on its own hand or not, on their own behalf or whatnot, right? So, Trotsky basically tries to answer this question of like, okay, is Russia ready for a socialist revolution or not? There's all this talk for a bourgeois revolution, and here Trotsky's arguing that no, the revolution must be led and permanent. So Trotsky's trying to answer this question of like, has Russia met the requisites, or has the world, in a sense, met the requisites for a socialist revolution or whatnot? And he says yes. And here's how he justifies the 3 points. So, in regards to the first point or whatnot, right? He talks about how, in order to have planned production, or in order to basically meet the productive technical forces or whatnot, you basically need to have the productive forces in large industry, or you need to have the productive forces in large enterprises be greater than those in the small ones or whatnot, right? So basically, the idea there is like, when production happens on a mass scale or whatnot, or on a large scale or whatnot, it's better. That's far better. That's far better. That's far more productive than it is on a small scale. In some sense that might sound intuitive, but like the reason why he makes that point is because like when you have like, for example, the feudal handicraft system or whatnot, it's like you can't even imagine large scale enterprises or whatnot. It's like you just have these like tiny individual based kind of like small enterprises of like, I make personalized sofas, or I make personalized tools or whatnot. Whereas like Trotsky made a point that like, no, actually like we've met the requisite where it's like actually we have large enterprises that if the masses were to take up the large enterprises, it would be able to greatly enrich themselves. If the masses were able to take up the means of productions, it would greatly come to its own benefit or whatnot, right? Okay, with the second requisite of the class antagonisms make it so that the proletariat strikes for the realization of socialism. So I mean, yeah. Here Trotsky makes the point that one, the social democrats or whatnot, or the social democrats or whatnot, they must seize power or whatnot, right? Or, the party or whatnot, the representation of the proletariat, the party must seize power or whatnot, right? The party must seize power or whatnot. It can't simply transition into socialism. It can't simply try to wiggle its way to socialism or reform its way to socialism. It must seize power or whatnot for the behalf of the proletarian or whatnot, right? And Trotsky also makes a point here, which is like there's an argument in this time, or there's an argument that Russia's not ready for a socialist revolution or whatnot because it doesn't have the proletarian is not the majority or whatnot, right? And then people make the argument that actually the world is not ready for a proletarian revolution because the majority of the world is not is not majority proletarian or is not majority proletarianized or whatnot. So Trotsky asks the question, which is, okay, what does majority mean or whatnot, right? And what does it mean 50% of the population? Does it mean 2/3 of the population? Does it mean 90% of the population or whatnot, right? He's like, okay, what proportion is majority or whatnot, right? And Trotsky makes the point that what it means to say a proletarian majority, you can't measure that in regards to a proportion or a number, but rather we have to understand that the proletarian is a political category, right? It's and what he means by calling the proletarian a political category is he's trying to say that the proletarian is not a sociological category. You can't just define this proletariat as the proletariat is just what's it called? You can't just define the proletariat as those who make under this much or whatnot, right? Or even though it's more accurate to say that the proletarian is are those who even though it's more accurate to say that the proletarian are those who earn wages or whatnot, right? Trotsky's making the critical point that how do you go from working class to proletariat or whatnot? The proletariat is a political subject or whatnot, right? And to call it a political subject to say that the importance of the proletariat is that it has the power to influence large-scale industry, right? Society is constituted on the activity of the proletariat. And in that sense, the proletariat is a majority because all of society depends on the proletariat or not, right? So you see how he's saying that, you can't just call it, think of a number and say that's the majority or not. It's no, who makes up society or not, right? And then, what's it called? And then, the last point here in regards to kind of the class antagonism is Trotsky makes the point that, it may be the bourgeoisie who own the means of production, but it's the proletariat that sets those means of production into motion. Yes, the bourgeoisie owns the factory. Yes, the bourgeoisie owns the land. Yes, the bourgeoisie owns whatever or whatnot, right? But the idea there is the factory only runs because of the activity of the workers or whatnot. The land, the land is only toiled or whatnot because of the activity of the workers or whatnot, right? Can you think of another means of production or whatnot? Because I can only think of factory and land or whatnot. I don't know. But basically when it comes down to the means of production or whatnot, right? Well, I guess in a smaller sense or whatnot, if you work at a job where it's they handed you the tools or whatnot, but you didn't own the tools or whatnot, right? So it's they handed you this is a very small scale example. They handed you a pick, but you don't own the pick, so it's you can't, it belongs to the company or whatnot, right? Well, whatever. The idea there is not sure, the bourgeoisie may own the means of production, but it's actually the proletariat that puts the means of production into motion or whatnot, right? So with that fact, it's okay, the proletariat or whatnot is the only element in the means of production that is not an automatic factor or whatnot, because it is actually controlled by the will of the proletariat or whatnot. And this leads to the last factor, the subjective political or whatnot, right? Which is the dictatorship of the proletariat. So Trotsky makes the point that politics is an intersection of subjective and objective conditions or whatnot, right? Subjectively, what he means is that the preparedness of the proletariat for. So here's where Trotsky is getting at the purpose of a political party. So for Trotsky, what is the purpose of the political party? The purpose of the political party is to prepare the proletariat for the conquest of political power or whatnot, right? The purpose of the whole purpose of the party. What is the party? The party is a conscious agent or whatnot, right? Or it's a conscious it's a conscious action of a revolutionary class or whatnot, right? during this time, you have socialists or whatnot who are trying to make this moralistic argument that says they're like, oh, the proletariat is not ready to seize power or whatnot because the proletariat or whatnot is like they're not moral enough. They're not angels. Like as weird as it sounds, like oh, they're not angels or whatnot, right? They're not good enough. They're like we need to have the moral regeneration of the proletariat or whatnot, and before they can take power or whatnot. And Trotsky's like, no. He says. This is a quote that we'll get to with Lenin saying in Revolution, where Lenin says outright or whatnot, he says, we don't want men to be angels. We want men as they are or whatnot, right? We want people like when we call for the conquest of political power, we were talking about how people, we're talking about the wretched state that people are right now to seize power, not this kind of angelic kind of idea or whatnot, right? And like Trotsky makes this point here, which is like, yeah, in some sense, like the goal of socialism or whatnot is to like create this kind of like enlightened society, but like Trotsky makes the point that like you cannot have a socialist psychology or like you cannot have a socialist consciousness. You cannot have the consciousness, you cannot have a socialist psychology in capitalism or whatnot, right? You have to bring about socialism before you could have a socialist consciousness, right? It's kind of like the idea where it's like you can't make a peasant have a bourgeois mindset or whatnot, right? If they live in feudalism or whatnot, they have to actually live in bourgeois society before they have that grindman mindset, as dumb as it sounds, right? But like, the idea there is like, you can't already have these, you can't wait for the workers to have a socialist consciousness. You have to have the workers bring about socialism or whatnot, right? He says that under capitalism, the only psychology that the workers have is a class psychology or whatnot, rather than a socialist psychology. The direct quote he has is, and I'll read it straight up. He says, if socialism aimed at creating a new human nature within the limits of the old society, it would be nothing more than a new edition of the moralistic utopias. Socialism does not aim at creating a socialist psychology as a prerequisite to socialism, but at creating socialist conditions of life as prerequisite of a socialist psychology. So you see the difference between creating socialist conditions versus having socialist psychology or whatnot, right? Yeah. So here with the dictatorship of the proletariat, the idea there is that the party or not, the party trains the consciousness of the proletariat for the conquest of political power or not, right? So big point here or not is that permanent revolution, that the proletariat will not confine itself to national democratic limits or whatnot, and will necessarily push for the proletarian socialist revolution all across Europe. Coolio. That was Trotsky's Results and Prospects. That was, I guess, the history of 1905 put on a world historical scale or whatnot. Cool. I guess I'll end the recording now.